cough on you, sneeze on you, don't hold it against me.
You're not trying to be sick.
Not sick, just, I'm doing that because I'm healthy. I'm not gonna eat. Good to see y'all again.
Me too.
How excited are you to get this going?
I am. I mean, it's always, spring's always a fun time to me, because I think you get to experiment a little bit and develop that new identity and get some guys in key situations, see some of those young guys that really have gotten comfortable in their environments around here, really start to see some of those freshmen and those young sophomores start to take a hold and see the hope and the chance they have to start and play and see how they take those situations and how they compete against some of the upperclassmen and the things that go on. And spring's a fun time to me. I love spring practice, I really do. Wish it was longer.
It seems like amongst the players that we've spoken to, there's this excitement level that we saw a little bit last year, but not quite to this extent. How do you contain that? Because there's a lot of hype about this team this year.
Well, and like I tell them, when we've said it all the time, we have to develop our own identity. You know, we have to go back to the basics, and what we do between now and August will determine how we do in the fall, and there's going to be no shortcuts. We have to go back to hard work. Remember the reasons we made the improvement from a year ago to what we did at the end of last year, and then try to take that same attitude and do it again, and not get caught up in the results, not get caught up in all the expectations, but remember the process of how to go to work every day, how to get to better every day, and break things down very simply, for a lack of a better term, to understand what they have to do and put it in perspective for them and things that they know they can attain on a day-to-day basis when they hit the practice field. And don't get caught up in the big things and get better at these little things, and all of a sudden they'll see themselves start to be consistent, the execution will grow, and then the confidence will grow, and then hopefully our team will grow.
How big of a spring is this for EJ, just given the last 2 years?
That'd be huge because it'd be his first one. Hopefully it's the first one he stays healthy. It should be a good one. And then when you're the guy, you know what I mean, you're in charge. You're not having to, know that Christian's out there or the starter's out there. You're fighting for a job, and I mean he still has to perform. I mean, this guy's going to be trying to take his job from behind too. But I'm anxious to see how he carries himself, how he handles himself, which I think will be very good. And I just think it's big for him because, like I say, it gets you some time in there about how the personality that he'll take and our team will take, and I think it'll come largely from him.
EJ, Coach, that goals will be set for the team once the season kind of gets closer. But for you, your second year as the head coach, what are your goals for yourself?
To make our team better and to keep our team focused and not get outcome oriented right now, and understand that we have to play in the fall, but to align ourselves and not to get too big picture oriented right now, and to put things in perspective about what we need to get better at in each little part of our organization to make those goals attainable when the fall comes. And I think that's a goal for myself, to not get caught up in all this and get pushed up too much, but break it down simply. We have to do this, these areas have to get better, these areas have to at least stay the same or improve in some areas, and so we can attain those goals in the fall. And I think for a coach, it's no different than a player. You can get caught up in the same whirlwind that you do as a young player.
EJ mentioned earlier how competitive he is, and something they don't know about him. EJ said how competitive he is, where people don't really notice that because he's kind of mild-mannered off the field. And he said he kind of compares you when he gets on the field, a different switch turns on.
I don't switch on. No, he does. He does. He's very driven. EJ is sometimes he's one of the few guys. Sometimes you have to say, "Hey, take it easy on yourself." Very much like the last guy was too. Seven was a lot like that. There, Christian was a lot like that. And a lot of your great players are. They hold themselves to a higher standard, and EJ really does that. And it takes a lot of the blame for things, and then it goes on. But that's a great quality. I mean, I think his teammates respect that, they admire that. But that's why I love him. That's one of the things that I most admired about him when I recruited him. And not just on the field. It's off the field, whether it's community service, the way he carries himself in front for the organization, or in the classroom. I mean, he is a competitor in everything he does. He wants to be good at all things, not just the ball part of it. Which is, like I say, is when you're leaders like that, your organization's usually in good hands.
How much I know this is his first time coming up here and standing at the podium, the first time for him being the man. How much did playing in a bowl game and the familiarity with his receivers and just being a part of that offense last year help him in this transition into being a starter?
I think it does tremendously. But you know, the one thing I always said about EJ, the thing that he has always had from the minute I met him, is presence. When you're in a room with him, you feel confident. You feel comfortable, and that this guy can do the things that you want him to do. And I think, of course, the experience of knowing that, as I say this, for like I said last year, everyone, you know, recruits great backups, got great people behind him, and you say, boy, and deep down you're hoping your backup can play. Well, like I said last year, we know ours can, because he went 3-1 as a freshman, won the MVP of a bowl game, come in last year, led us to a big win here against Clemson, which was critical after 2 tough losses. Comes in the plays the ACC championship game, which I thought he played a very good football game in that game, and then comes off the bench in our bowl game again, and we're leading and takes us down, and we win the game and really do some good things. So we know he can play, and I think from a confidence standpoint, you know, I think that really helps him. But he's always a guy though that just always gives you that feeling that, you know, everything's going to be okay, because he does have that presence. But I don't think it really helped him. Didn't hurt him for sure.
How comfortable are you with the players who are competing for the backup quarterback spot? And do you think the staff's being at all a little bit tougher, or will be a little bit tougher on the Trickett boy?
Nah, we won't. And you can't. You can't. I mean, he's the same. Both those kids are the same way. They're hard on themselves, and Clint is too, and Will is. I mean, they'll push themselves. But that's a big spot for us. I mean, that's one of the big things that we have to establish in the spring, is who the backup's going to be, and what can he do and what can he not do. You know, that's always the case in every person. There's a lot of jobs that we have to do that with, but that will be a big one. And who can win that battle, because the personality of your team, when they go in the game, what can they do, what can they not do, what do you feature when you call plays, what do you feature in the offense for that? So that will be a big battle, and it's going to be one of the interesting ones this spring.
As of right now, how confident are you in those guys' abilities?
I feel good about it. I really do. I mean, I think Will's a great guy. I think he's going to be a very good player. Coach's son understands the game. You know, played very well in the spring game here last year. When he got out there and did in the game, Clint has a lot of confidence in himself, a very good leader, has a good ability, as they've gotten bigger and stronger. And I feel good about them. I really do. I think they'll be good players.
What about the battle at center? Where do you guys stand with that?
Well, I mean, with Spurlock will have to be, he'll practice a lot, but he'll be limited in some things he does in full as we get the contact going, and we'll build it up as we go with the hits. But then Stork will battle in there. But we plan on Spurlock doing it, but we got to teach 2 or 3 guys. Stork will have to go in there and do it. You know, we'll bring Lovelady and those guys along in there. Trey Pettis is a guy who can be a great center, I think, if he has to be. Some of those guys, we'll train a lot of guys. I've always trained centers. I went through a spring training. I told you one time at Auburn, we went through 6 centers in 2 days. We were on our 6th center, and we opened the game up against Virginia. Damien's senior year. We had experienced quarterback, and we went through like 6 centers in 2 days. The first snap, we're playing Virginia up there, and they got Aaron Brooks and Crowell and the Kearney, the end, and they got great players. First snap, they snapped through his legs off the ground. He's underneath, and they roll back 30 yards. We lose 30 yards, and we still come back and won the game. So, I mean, center is a position you never have enough guys, because it's such a unique position. You're always training guys for that.
Following up on that, how important is the offensive line going to be this spring? You got obviously plays 2 of your best players.
Oh shoot! I mean, you got Spurlock he'll play a lot in the beginning and then be full go about midway, and then you got both tackles out. Zebra and Datko both be out, so that will be huge chances for some of those young guys to come on. You know, the Faircloths, the Henry Arillises of the world, and all those guys jumping in, and those young guys that are in there, Presswood and Pettis and whoever else goes outside, you know, and what we're doing. So. It's going to be huge, and it'll probably cause some problems in scrimmages, because there'll be some mismatches early, you know, with some of our good front guys and what we're trying to do. But we understand that. I'm not what you do in the spring. There's no wins, no losses. It's about getting better. And like I say, a lot of the scrimmages, people take a lot of weight on y'all, put a lot of weight on y'all. That doesn't matter to me. We're working on things. We're trying to do things. What you do in the spring to get ready for the fall. So I'm anxious that we get to build a lot of depth in that offensive line and see some of these guys against some really good players every day. And hopefully they'll develop a lot quicker.
How's Farron-Krug doing?
Very well. Been very pleased with him. Farron-Krug looks great. Moves great, moving great in the short areas, punch, power. I expect him to be a really good football player.
Slide him into Rodney's spot then?
Yeah, and driven, hard-working, focused. I mean, as focused a guy when he comes to work now, there is no playing. I got my work done. He's changed his body. He's done great. He looks great. He's moving good, smart, tough. I think he's going to be a really good football player.
I'll trick it, find you.
Huh? On film, we were bouncing around. We knew we had a chance, you know, we need to